Adam Reynolds. I mean, the game is better for having him on the field, but have the Broncos left their run just a little bit too late?
Well, they can still make it. Look, and Reynolds is the key, obviously. I mean, they've got other brilliant players. They've got the Origin players and all that stuff. But he's their heartbeat. He's their captain, or he's their leader on the field in a lot of ways, isn't he? So I think that he's a player who, you know, without him, they can't do it. It showed when he was out, they can't do it. Gus, I mean, he's so key to them, isn't he? Like when you look at him,
chalk and cheese. I mean, it was just like a different football team to what we've been watching. You know, and pretty much he changed the Broncos from the time he first went there. He just became the rudder to the team and had all these exciting young talents playing outside of him, and he brought them all to life. And they've been struggling in recent times. They haven't wanted to admit it. They lost 6 in a row. They've fallen out of the 8. People saying, well, gee whiz, they're gone. And I keep saying, no, when they get the halfback back, it'll be completely different. And it was right from the opening minute. It was completely different when Adam Reynolds was on the field. And they'll just get better and better as the weeks go by.
All right, let's take a look at how this top 8 is shaping up at the moment. I know we seem to say it all the time, but it is one of the closest races to the finals that we have seen in a number of years. The Storm there at the top, Panthers, Sharks and Roosters, yes, entrenched in the top 4, but the race for the 8 there, essentially if you go from the Dogs, Dolphins, Cowboys, Dragons, and then consider that the Raiders and Broncos can still make it. Gus, I know your Doggies didn't get the win on the weekend, but what do they need to do to be able to cement their spot?
Yeah, well, mathematically, there's so many teams there that can still qualify for the finals, and they all play each other in the next 7 weeks. I think it's going to be fascinating football, and all the games mean something, and I think it's really good. I know from the Bulldogs' perspective, I just know that this last couple of months was going to be great for the club because they're actually playing in games that mean something. They haven't done that for a long, long time, and they're playing against teams where the result means something to them too. So playing in front of big crowds in games that mean something is wonderful experience and education for this Bulldogs team, who I think have done extraordinarily well. I was very proud of their effort last night. They didn't get the win, but that happened. We're going to play in a lot of games like that go down to the wire. Some you win, some you don't. I thought they were very unlucky at different times, and a couple of things didn't go their way, but they fought very hard against a very good Cowboys side.
Got to give that Tom Dearden. His Origin series was great. Oh, look, 4 or 5 years ago, I obviously didn't think too much of Tom Dearden at all. He had a lot of, I suppose, expectation on his shoulders coming through. Went up to the Cowboys. His year this year has been outstanding. His Origin series was fantastic. His game 3 was brilliant. But to back up last night, he virtually won the game for them on the back. It made a break, set up a try. I just think he's going from strength to strength. He's still very young too, so he's only going to get better. That kid, he's a great player.
Gus, do you have Broncos this week at Bulldogs? That you got?
Yes, Saturday night.
Were there any thought to have stayed up in Queensland? I mean, given that you've got 2 big away trips like that, was that a consideration?
They certainly thought about it, and we've got another back-to-back later in the year. Well, I think we play in Bundaberg, and 4 or 5 days later we play in New Zealand. So. There's a fair bit of travel in the last 8 weeks for the Bulldogs, which again is great experience. I mean, I'm not unhappy that we're doing that because, you know, our day will come later at a later time. But I think that our blokes are fighting hard. There's a different perception about our club, which I'm happy about. And I can't fault the effort. I can't fault the effort levels of any of our players that play first grade. We debuted another player last night, Harry Hayes, and he went particularly well. And that gives encouragement for all the other kids in the pathway system as well.
Can we see any of the teams around the 8 really knocking off the heavyweights?
Yeah,
really?
Well, I think the top 4 teams are probably going to finish top 4. I don't think they'll move around too much, but the bottom part of the 8, I think, can move around. Yeah, I mean, right down to the Warriors. If the Warriors were to win every game, they've got the talent to do that as well. The Broncos, as we said, South Sydney is still thereabouts. This last 7 weeks of the competition is going to be so exciting to watch. Every game means something, as Gus said, and I'm looking forward to every single game. You're probably the Titans, the Eels, and the Tigers are probably done. Other than that, everyone else is still a chance if they keep winning, and they all play each other. So every single game this last 7 weeks is important.
Wadler, there seems to be this school of thought as well that the Roosters can't beat a couple of the top teams. So I think their record, they've won 1 of their last 20 against the Panthers and the Storm. Do you think internally that's something that Trent Robinson and his men are aware of?
Oh yeah. It's there for everybody to see. It's not a school of thought. It's there in front of them. It's what is it? 1 out of
it's one of their last 20.
They've only been 1 top 8 side this year.
Yeah, I think that was the Bulldogs from memory.
But they've got a fantastic playing roster. I don't know what it is, whether it's a mental thing or what it is, because it's not like they don't have the talent on the side to be able to beat anyone on their day.
Well, I think there's some internal thinking about what it is, and there might be some question marks over the entirety of their spine. I don't know. There might be maybe it Brandon Smith at hooker hasn't probably given them all they want to give, and that's not my opinion. That's coming from things I'm hearing. And the other thing that I think is a concern, and I'm not the expert here, but they talk about the Roosters' ability to do long kicks. I mean,
that's 100% an issue for the
So
Roosters,
that to me, that's what has been explained to me.
They've probably got the best short kicking game in the competition, but their ability to kick long, their two halves just don't have a long kicking game.
The Burton style kick or the Moses.
They don't have that. I do agree with that. To get themselves out of trouble if they're not making yards is an issue for them.